This Jocks 94.5 podcast is brought to you by Millennium Satellite and Video. Log on to msbnow.com. TV excellence everywhere. That's Millennium. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning starts now.
So some of these players that we've been referencing going to have to help out early in the season too. We had Brad Powers on yesterday talking some early season week one lines. What do we think about some of these early matchups when we begin to look a little bit further than just what the two brands are, or maybe what they've been in the past, or even like the actual matchup of the game, which would be wild to think about that we should be talking about that instead of just what the line is or maybe one guy that's returning. We'll get into a few of those here in just a moment. We have to wait for that conversation, Greg, but one thing you never have to wait for is your dental care.
That's because Family Care Dental has you taken care of at the urgent care office. You can be seen the same day. Several locations to make it easy on you in Hoover, Fultondale, Homewood, Alabaster, and Trustful. We know busy schedules are going on right now. Summertime's hard. Scheduling around kids, activities, the whole family. It's difficult to make those dental appointments and make them work for your schedule. That's why they're open on Fridays and Saturdays for routine cleaning. Also includes free teeth whitening as well. And they're accepting patients of all ages and most insurance plans. Get you in the same day if you have an urgent issue. So call them today at Family Care Dental, 874-9605. That's 874-9605.
Some of the lines with week one, I thought were intriguing conversations yesterday. Let's just start with Baylor-Auburn. Auburn currently a 7.5-point favorite. When you just see that number on that game, now going to be in Atlanta, so not a true home game for Auburn. Do you view that as too many points in a week one matchup with so different?
It's a tough call. Feels like a lot of points. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's the exact same thing as like a, Florida State, Bama situation. Obviously that was on the road, all that stuff. Like what I'm getting at though, is that it's very, very difficult in my opinion to feel super confident laying that many points when there are a lot of questions about both sides. So much new in one spot, full reset on the other. It's tough for me to get on board.
I look at it as a little bit too much right now. And I think where I have these two teams, do I think Auburn has a chance, is most likely going to be a better football team this season? Yes. But then I go back to last year's matchup, and I think some people are utilizing a little bit of that to form opinions on this. And I think to myself, like, what?
How is that applicable?
That was essentially quarterback scramble and, some mistakes and a tight end that couldn't be covered. Like those were your big takeaways from that game. Do you think Auburn's going to be able to run the football in this game?
I'd hope so. If you look at the numbers that, you look at the numbers that Auburn was able to put up last year running the football, and the numbers more so that Baylor gave up running the football. And like you just said, I know
not just that game, but yeah, in general,
I know it's quarterback scramble, but like in general, Baylor was not good stopping the run. So if they can't stop the run, if they can't run the ball effectively in that game, that would have me a little concerned.
Baylor gave up less than 100 yards rushing twice last year. Samford ran for 95, running air raid, and UCF ran for 74 in a 30-3 loss. So, Arizona State put up 179, SMU 163, TCU 196, Cincinnati ran for 265, Houston ran for 216, Arizona ran for 172. Do you have any idea how many yards Utah ran for against Baylor last year? I don't know if you remember this game.
No. I think it was like 3-something.
80?
What?
380
Oh,
yards?
380. I was like, what? They ran for 80.
43 for 380 and 5 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, I do vaguely remember that.
Oh.
Impressive day.
I mean, sprinkle in not even mentioned Oak State for 157, K-State for 162. So that was not good for this group a season ago. Now, I still have some concerns about the offensive line, offensive line continuity with Auburn.
Right.
I don't just know that that's going to go. Now, if it is Cole Skinner at right guard, he and Cole Best have played together. You'll most likely have a couple of guys up front that have spent time together and that have done some things in the same system in a similar scheme that are going to be able to help you out. But we don't really know exactly what it's going to look like. I think adding Q run, especially in between the tackles in a little bit more of a physical manner, is going to be able to help. If it's Bryson Washington getting the bulk of the work at running back, I know Jeremiah Cobb's still there, but he's familiar with the system and understands it. I also think, too, a lot of times, Greg, in early games like that is when, if you're on the same page, tempo can really help you. Because that defense not in shape and you're just not used. And I don't even mean speed of what the play is going to look like or how it's going to go, but just getting lined up again. Like you're not all usually ready to go week one. You're just not.
Yeah.
And I think tempo in this game could be massive for Auburn if they're going to run the football in a successful manner.
Yes, I would agree. I think tempo can be helpful. I think at that point of the season, too, with so much new on both sides, tempo and forcing people to communicate quickly, especially at home, like all those things can be really helpful.
What's scary about this Baylor defense? For Alex Golis in this offense, you got a lot of new guys coming in on the defensive line. You have some experience back at linebacker, but I mean, you're essentially rebuilding your defensive line.
What's scary is not the personnel. As scary as the offseason that Dave Aranda's had to put together a plan that you are maybe not all the way in tune to attack. There's going to be some ghost chasing in this game, just like there is in every week one game. It's going to be tricky. Same goes for Bama, for example, when they have to play at Kentucky in week 2. Like there's going to be some ghost chasing in that game. That's going to be tricky. You have to watch a lot of tape. You're probably going to have to prepare for a couple curveballs. And what do we know about Dave Aranda's current job status?
Not in good standing.
No. So probably get a little bit of gotta have it mode.
A little bit.
All throughout the season. So to start things off with the bang on the road against a quality team, this would go a long way in
No
making
doubt.
things feel a little different. So in many ways, it's very similar to the Florida State game last year where Mike Norvell put all his eggs into one basket, knowing they had to flip it from the 2-10 the year before, and pulled it off. And then they kind of limped to the finish line with a really underwhelming season the rest of the way. But man, on that first week, it was a lot to deal with.
A lot. And we'll talk to Adam Cole a little bit more about this Auburn roster, where it is, in about 13 minutes, get his thoughts on it, but continue talking different lines from week one and where they are right now. Clemson, LSU. LSU is an 11.5-point favorite. I understand that there is the mindset of how much talent is being brought in, what Lane Kiffin has done, the expense of the rosters. I get all of that. I don't know how much of this I view as sort of disrespect towards Clemson, Greg, but I do think a lot of the LSU hype train maybe is playing into this. Interested in just kind of your thoughts on when you see this big of a number against two teams that in recent memory have had a lot of success in college football.
I think Clemson has a lot more talent than people are probably paying attention to right now. Their talent retention, I think their D-line is going to be pretty dang good. I like a couple guys on their D-line a lot. I like their receivers a lot. They have two that are big time. I think their quarterback situation, they're going to stay within the offense. I think that will be helpful. With all due respect to Kate Klubnik, he had some really high highs and some really low lows. But, man, when he got hit, he just had a hard time kind of sustaining. I don't think the O-line is going to be elite by any stretch. Never has been. But I do think that this Clemson team is sneaky dangerous. So I would take the points.
Yeah, I would. I'd be interested to see how Clemson wants to manage their offense early. Because like you said, it's not going to be a dominant offensive line. It hasn't been under Dabo. Just not what it's been. The mobility at quarterback compared to what you had with Klubnik. Now, he wasn't a guy that I think a lot of people intended on sort of being that guy, but he brought that aspect of the offense when you needed it, and someone who added a little bit more of it. Is Christopher Vazina going to be that guy as far as running the football when you need him to?
He's not a runner.
I don't feel like that's the strength of his game or even partially a strength of his game. So that's going to be intriguing for me to see kind of where they want to go with that part of the offense. But still with LSU, Greg, there's a lot that's new, man. I think if I'm looking for the biggest advantage in this game, It's that Blake Baker has some familiar faces and he's going to let it rip. Like, we've spent a lot of time this offseason talking about these defenses and how aggressive they are and how they come after you and how they attack you. They're going to have advantages early on too. I mean, we didn't mention that so much with the Auburn-Baylor game, but the fact that DJ Durkin has familiar faces back sprinkled across that defense that are going to understand how he can be complex and show you different things and do different things and move and vary coverages in different ways, pre-snap, post-snap. Similar deal with LSU there. Like, if I got a new starting quarterback and may not have aspects of the run game that I feel confident I can lean on, I don't like your chances against a Blake Baker defense with veterans back.
At all.
And listen, I'm not saying that I think LSU's got the best defense in the SEC. There's some holes in that defense from a personnel standpoint. They are not overly scary individually across the board, but they got enough to be able to go attack mode week one against an offense that lacks some familiarity and be a big problem.
For sure.
So, but how does Umunmielen fit in? Does Jordan Ross finally take off? Is he going to be that guy? Daughtery playing next to Weeks, what that's going to look like. I mean, here's the other part too. Blake Baker's not going to have to put the green dot on one guy so he can tell him what to do on every play. And he's not going to have safeties that are trying to offset not having a green dot or extra communication or have to do different things because other people need certain attention. That's going to be a real thing for that defense. It could end up being a big advantage for that defense this year.
Well, the other thing that I'll be curious about too, and something worth kind of assessing, evaluating, what have you, is there the same level of aggressiveness from Blake Baker that we've seen in the past? Is it the same, I think, this year? Do you think it's going to be comparable? Do you think it's going to be along the same lines? They dial it back a little bit. Like, Lane traditionally has not allowed his defense coordinator to go out there and like just blitz the house every time. Like, I'll be curious. Like, I just wonder how different they might look as well.
I had this conversation with Alex Golish, and he said he and Durkin have had this conversation. He told us this at the Regions. When you go down and you look at these teams right now, that question, let's save this. Well, no, I don't want to save it because we got to go a little further because then we're going to bring in Adam Cole. That question is going to be applicable for multiple teams this year.
Yes.
So when you're talking about LSU, hyper aggressive on defense, can be hyper fast on offense. Mississippi State, hyper aggressive on defense, now has been hyper aggressive on offense.
Yeah.
Oklahoma, hell, we just heard they're going under center this year. I mean, George Stoia told us that. It's the first time I've heard that. That's
Long time coming.
Whole nother conversation, by the way, because we can go back to ain't no different.
Oh, boy.
What's the difference? It's different, folks.
Oh, boy.
I'm not going to say Ole Miss hyper aggressive on defense, but they were better when they were moving last year, Greg.
I would agree with that.
And they're not going to be less aggressive on offense. So that becomes a little bit applicable. Tennessee is becoming more hyper aggressive on defense. We know what they do offensively. So some of these teams are going to have to, where do they back off a little bit? Because you can't be foot on the gas on both sides of the ball every series of every game.
No.
Just can't do it.
It's not if you're trying to go the distance.
With today's depth,
I think it's really hard to do.
Impossible to do in my mind. So that may go back to what we've talked about with certain teams being able to lean on the run at times. Having a disruptive individual defensive lineman or multiple to where you don't have to move that group as much. Does that give you some advantages if you are Ole Miss, Oklahoma, where you got those guys up front, specifically inside, where you can say, no, we're just going to let them wreck shop and, play a little more base behind them at times to give them a little bit of a rest and to not just run ourselves into the ground.
Yeah.
But what's A&M going to be offensively this year as far as identity? You brought that up. And does that change Elko's mindset on certain things and how he wants to handle not even just third downs, but other things individually? So it's a really intriguing thought as to where some of these defenses are going to go and where some of the offenses are going to go because of what their defenses now are this year in the SEC.
Yeah, and I don't know if any of us really know just yet how it's all going to play out with some of these identities. And I think all these coaches now, they spend a lot of time self-scouting. They have to. I mean, I think that's a big part of what they do. And I think that a lot of teams will adjust year over year and change what they are year over year. I mean, think about Think about how different Alabama's offense was from year one of Kalen DeBoer to year two. Very, very different, right? I mean, a lot of intermediate passing game, a lot of underneath, quick, short passing attack. Definitely some downfield shots, but a lot more traditional drop back versus year one, where it's basically all they had was downfield shots and quarterback run. It was very different one year to the next. I think that happens a lot.
I don't think there's any doubt. All right, we will continue talking a little bit more Auburn and Alabama with Adam Cole. Montgomery Advertiser covers the Auburn Tigers. An agreement between the two schools. Rare to see. What does it mean? We'll discuss it next on Jocks.
Go inside Jocks 94.5 on Jocks TV. Morning Jocks, Mac and Cube, three-man front video simulcasts are presented by Bill Smith Buick GMC and Game Day Men's Health. Watch on the Jocks mobile app and YouTube by searching Jocks 94.5 TV.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Going to talk to Adam Cole about an agreement between Auburn and Alabama that took place yesterday. It's pretty important, but what do we need to know about it? How important is it actually? Before we do that, Greg, tell our listeners about Bromberg's.
Well, Bromberg's been my go-to here in the community for a very long time, but it's also been the community's go-to as well. They've been serving the Birmingham area for nearly 200 years, and they continue to provide the natural diamond jewelry that is incredibly special. I mean, natural diamonds, they began being created 3 billion years ago. Think about that. It's a luxury like no other, and every natural diamond is one of a kind. And what it symbolizes in your life is also one of a kind as well. And these are timeless gemstones that will remain with us forever and potentially be passed down through multiple generations and cherished as family heirlooms. So to discover the latest natural diamond jewelry, visit Bromberg's in Mountain Brook or at the Summit, or you can go online at brombergs.com.
All right, Adam Cole joins us now on the Higginbotham Hotline, covers Auburn for USA Today and the Montgomery Advertiser. An agreement between Auburn and Alabama, Adam. We don't see this very often, these sides coming together for different reasons. But this one specifically, a joint statement in opposition of the Protect College Sports Act. Why do you think that they felt it important for these two universities to release this statement together?
It's a great question because this is a situation where, it feels like this is about the second or third time we've seen legislation try to work its way through, and you've seen some opposition. But yeah, I mean, looking at this stuff yesterday, it's not like there are a bunch of teams that are coming out, a bunch of programs coming out just in opposition of it. I think yesterday, just in looking it up, I think the only other group of schools that's done it is Texas and Texas A&M. But no, just in looking through it yesterday, I think the biggest thing I usually see is the fact that this allows for further like litigation, as though we've seen it. I think about a lot of the eligibility cases of a Diego Pavia or a Trinidad Chambliss, and I think that's a really big element of this stuff that's currently going on Capitol Hill. Is you want something in place that's going to eliminate that sort of option moving forward, and I think that's really the biggest piece of it. When I look at it, I think the interesting thing too that I took from that yesterday is Auburn and Alabama have, I think, staked their claim with this statement of the fact that they're not pro private equity, which has been a really interesting thing to just kind of keep tabs on in the college sports world. It seems that's a route that some folks are wanting to go, but bulleted out in this was the fact that it sort of gives way to private equity interests. So yeah, I guess this one was the right time. That's sort of the big question of why this one and why now, but certainly surprising to see them come out in solidarity yesterday.
But whether they are competition on the playing field's beside the point. They have the same interests. So it's I think it makes sense that you put those things aside and, hey, we have the same interest long term for the good of the game. We need to be and work in lockstep here. What else can we anticipate from Auburn and Alabama and this maybe to push to kind of keep the status quo?
I'll be interested to see moving forward, especially from Auburn's side. I just you have ties to the nation's capital, whether that's from the fact that one of your former football coaches is on running for governor now, but of course has been a senator on Capitol Hill in Senator Tuberville, and Of course, a guy who has been active in that scene for several years now, Bruce Pearl. We've seen Coach Pearl on Capitol Hill lobbying before, and of course you've seen Senator Tuberville around. But Auburn has roots sort of planted in all this stuff, so I'll be interested to see what all they do moving forward, especially from the kind of lobbying standpoint. But I wonder more than anything if this sets off some sort of ripple effect. Of course, you've had one set of rivals come out in opposition to this, but now you have Auburn and Alabama, and I just wonder if we'll see other schools, voice their opposition to the Protect College Sports Act now that you've got, another set of rivals in that ring and pretty notable ones at that.
Adam Cole joining us of the Montgomery Advertiser, talking mainly Auburn, but a joint statement from Auburn and Alabama in opposition to the Protect College Sports Act. How would you, in an elementary fashion, explain to people what these two universities and others are mainly against when it comes to what's been laid out by the Protect College Sports Act?
Yeah, I think you go to the top bullet point, and right below it is what I mentioned earlier, this whole issue of litigation that continues to pop up with, local judges in certain districts, granting temporary injunctions and things like that. But that's not even the top bullet point. The top bullet point, I think, lays it out pretty plain, which is this undermines the implementation and enforcement of rules established under the House settlement. I think that's another sort of big element of this thing is people aren't looking for that to be heavily altered, everything that happened, a year and a week ago now today. But that really would be the biggest thing to me is, people are looking for a way for a house to get codified, right? Like, I think that's really the biggest hurdle that college sports wants to see cleared. And, if this is something that's undermining the implementation and enforcement of those rules, then yeah, why would you get behind it? Why would you back it now that we've already gone through this many hoops to get House to where it is now?
How much push will be required to actually make something happen here?
I push is, I think a lot is probably the simplest answer, but I don't know how long it's going to go on, but it seems that we have found ourselves in this rhythm of a politician working up and sponsoring a bill or some sort of legislation before eventually there are holes poked in it and we circle back and kind of do this. I will be interested to see how long that goes on, but it's not going to shock me if we do this whole dance at least once again, maybe even twice. At this point, you've got 4 bullet points, if we want to go by way of that Auburn and Alabama are in opposition of. So hopefully the next time this circles back, you can cut down on that. And, maybe you won't have to do this dance 4 times over to get those things worked out and compromised. But I think it'll take a significant push just because I feel like you're really having to go through the political process here, right, of compromising and boiling this stuff down to, trying to have the least cons on the list for the bill that eventually you hope passes. So I think it will be a little while, and I'll just be interested to see how long it goes more than anything.
Talking with Adam Cole, the Montgomery Advertiser. He covers the Auburn Tigers. He's with us on the Higginbotham Hotline. So we were talking about this team. We were talking about Baylor, the matchup, and kind of what we like, what we're a little concerned about with this Auburn football team. Offensively, what are you hearing? What do you think? What do you believe? What do you maybe know about where this offensive line is and where that's going to lead to this team potentially being able to run the football early against Baylor?
That is the big question mark. And I think when I look at a lot of the concern for this offensive line, I go back to one name, and it's really their health more than anything, but Stanton Ramil, the Thompson High School product out of Alabaster who wound up at Michigan State his first few years. He was dealing with an injury all off season and didn't really get to be a full participant in the spring. And so his health is the biggest key. If you get him back in at full health by the start of the season, you've got, in theory, your starting left tackle. We'll see about that. But that's really sort of the linchpin in it right now. But the expectation has been since, late spring and even a little before then that he should be at full health by the summer. You felt that way coming out of the spring, like at least in terms of Auburn's health, you felt they were good in a relative sense. And to this point, I mean, it has been, with the exception of the recruiting trail, I guess, a pretty quiet off season for the football program, which usually this time of year, like, it's not such a bad thing to not be making a bunch of headlines, because it seems like this time of year, if you're doing that, usually it's things that aren't good. But for all we know, I mean, it seems like they're on track to have near full health heading into the fall, and Stanton Ramil will be kind of the linchpin.
What would you say?
Him?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh, you're good. I was just kind of reiterating, like, if you can get him back at full health, you feel like you've got all your pieces and all your options to kind of build it out.
What would you say is kind of the biggest question mark that they're dealing with internally there? Like, what is the thing that they're most interested in finding out in fall camp?
I would say the biggest thing is just how ready is your group of youth, so to speak. How ready are they to play and be contributors? It feels like that was kind of the question year in, year out these last 3 years under Hugh Freeze, because you had so many young guys you were leaning on. But with this group, it's all pretty makeshift. You've got some young guys that you held on to from the last regime, but beyond that, a couple South Florida names, a lot of transfers, and a handful of freshman signees. But we saw a lot of rising sophomores, Ty Buster, Killian Zaire, a true freshman, a legacy guy. Those guys were involved getting first and second team reps in the spring. Some of that is due to injury and things like that. There were a lot of guys who were sidelined days at a time in and out in the spring. But if you can have some of those young guys at a place where you feel like they're ready to contribute and make an impact, I think that's going to go a long way in terms of what you've got in the trenches.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. Adam Cole joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline talking Auburn football. What will the running back depth chart look like week one, in your opinion?
Oh, that's my favorite question about this team right now, because it's so deep, that room. You've got 4 leading running backs from a year ago. I think if you're asking me for where I think it goes, I think you've got Jeremiah Cobb at the top. I just, getting him back alone is significant, but you've got a guy who's been there for a while. I don't see him getting dethroned. But then after that, I think is where it gets most interesting, and I really think the next in line is Bryson Washington, and then from there, I would imagine it's more of a hot hand type of thing. I think number 3 could be Tay Meadows from Troy. I think it could be Nakai Davenport from South Florida, but it could also be Omar Mabson, a guy who's a rising sophomore, should technically be a true freshman this year. He got a lot of reps in the spring, and we heard a lot of good things about him, but I would imagine that they're going to rotate pretty heavily and go pretty deep. But those are kind of the 4 that I really look at right there. I guess maybe 5 with the addition of Mabson, but I really think it's them with some combination of Cobb and Washington at the top.
Adam, great stuff, man. Thanks for hopping on with us. Greatly appreciate the time. We'll do it again soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
There you go. Adam Cole with the Montgomery Advertiser talking a little Auburn, Alabama. Joint statement, Greg, in opposition of the Protect College Sports Act. When you saw those two and the two presidents essentially signing off on that together, what were your thoughts?
Didn't really cross my mind as much. I mean, I think it's more symbolic. Did you put anything to it?
I almost took it as more of taking marching orders from the league. But and I'm not accusing anyone with the league saying that, hey, go do this right now, but having the understanding of this is where we are. We're strength in numbers. So if the league is here and this is what the league wants moving forward, let's come together from our state's perspective and put this out there.
That's what I don't really understand about it.
And probably knowing who you have from your state that's going up against it as well.
That's what I don't understand about it more than anything. Is like, we already know the SEC is against it, so we think Auburn and Alabama are going to come out and
before it.
Like, what are we doing? I'm glad they did it. Awesome. But like, bit of a nothing burger for me. I feel like it was pretty obvious where they probably stood on the matter.
It does. There was a little bit of interesting verbiage, I thought, of establish an expansive federal program reaching into roster decisions, game scheduling, internal governance to micromanage college athletics. essentially against that, which I haven't heard it stated that way yet, but I do think that there is some reality to that when you think about it.
Yeah.
They also reference advancing private equity interests, obviously not won that, and essentially going against what the bill itself labels as stabilization or attempts to do to stabilize, that they think will go the opposite direction, which it's easy to see the side of Auburn and Alabama on this, and why some of those things that I think a lot of people look at as an easy fix could be very problematic down the road.
Except from the get-go, I can see anything and everything happening all at once. All of it makes perfect sense to me. If you believe that this bill can save everything, I can see why you feel that way.
Right.
If you believe that this bill will ruin everything, I can understand that thought process as well. Like I really can see both sides, and I really don't know. I can't sit here and tell you I do. I really genuinely don't know.
It's going to be intriguing to see where this goes, because we all had confidence in it at first. Now it feels like that confidence has sort of faded, and now we don't really know where to go. More on it right after this on Jocks.
The capital of the sports talk nation. This is Jocks 94.5 and JocksFM.com. Birmingham.
All right, welcome in. McElroy Cubelic in the morning, 9:37, Tuesday, July the 7th, right here on Jocks. We've talked Week 1 openers, some Week 1 lines that maybe we agree with, disagree with. Wisconsin, Notre Dame at 20.5. Is that too much?
Yes, that's too much.
Is SMU minus 2.5 at Florida State enough? Should that be a bigger line?
I might go SMU there.
I feel like I would have some confidence on that one. Now, tough place to play,
tough
obviously.
Road game. I mean, it's tough game for sure.
Do you have confidence Ashton Daniels going to be pretty good down there this year?
I think he's going to be all right.
I think so, too.
I like their fit.
There are some Florida State fans that are just not into him at all. I think he has a chance to be fine. Not saying he's going to blow it up and be Charlie Ward, but I think
what is their bar? What is their barometer?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
that's fair.
They have pretty high hopes and pretty high expectations for quarterback play, understandably so.
Do you feel like Cal should be more than a 1.5 point favorite against UCLA? That one feels like easy money to me.
Yes, I think Cal's going to be pretty good.
You know, I got hung up watching a couple Cal guys last week, Greg. And I kind of wanted to go watch quarterback a little bit more, which he makes some questionable decisions, but, man, he's got some skill.
He can play.
Got some ability.
I like him.
He'll force it every now and then.
And he was young.
You're going to love this.
Oh, boy.
And I'm watching it, and I'm thinking, dude, this offense is awesome. Man, this motion. I love this formation. Man, they really mix it up. Then I remembered who Cal's offensive coordinator was. The guy who everybody in this state told us can't coach. So
Brian Harsin?
Can't coach, right?
Don't shoot the messenger.
Go watch the offense.
Hugh Freeze is a better fit. Beat Bama twice.
Just saying, go watch that Cal offense.
Brian Harsin's good, dude. He's a good coach. Knows what he's doing. Not a great fit down here, but he's a good coach.
No, he doesn't know ball, Greg.
Good coach.
You know what I need to do that I haven't done? Find out if Cal scored more in the first half or the second half last year.
Boy. Come on now.
I'm saying.
Come on now. But I don't think
check
Harsin.
Some split stats there. See.
I don't think Harsin's there anymore.
But was the OC last year, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So I haven't watched this year's film yet.
You should. If you really cared, you'd be out in front of it.
I probably would.
You'd be grinding on it.
I would be into it.
Harsin can coach ball, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. You can coach ball.
Also going to be hot this summer. Alabama heat and humidity can be brutal. Don't let it affect your home and family. Keep them comfortable with an affordable Trane cooling system recognized as America's most trusted brand 12 consecutive years. You can rely on a Trane. Find a comfort specialist near you at Trane.com. All right, when we come back, Tommy Smyth puts a bow on the United States men's team run in this World Cup right after this on Jocks.
Go inside Jocks 94.5 on Jocks TV. Morning Jocks, Mac and Cube, three-man front video simulcasts are presented by Bill Smith Buick GMC and Game Day Men's Health. Watch on the Jocks mobile app and YouTube by searching Jocks 94.5 TV.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Before we get to Tommy Smyth to talk United States men's team, I'll tell you about Game Day Men's Health here at 9:43, Tuesday, July 7th on Jocks. If you're lacking energy, feeling on edge, lacking sleep, Game Day Men's Health can help you. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com today. Sign up for the free consultation, free PSA test, free testosterone test. They give you your baseline health. They present the options they have to be able to help you. Peptides, weight loss, they can help you with all that. You save 10% on any service they offer when you mention Mac and Cube when you walk in the front door. Locker room environment, great people, holistic approach to health and wellness, and a minimal upfront cost from the programs they offer. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com today to take advantage like so many Jocks listeners have. All right, Tommy Smyth joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline to talk World Cup. And Tommy, for us soccer novices watching this game last night, it felt ugly. It looked ugly. But how do you grade this appearance in this World Cup in its totality for this United States men's soccer team?
Well, Greg and Cole, it's nice to be on with you for a start. It wasn't a very good performance. I mean, early on, they had very good performances. They got a little bit of a luck with the draw because they got Paraguay, they got Australia, and they got Turkey. None of the big dogs really in world soccer. I mean, when they came up against Belgium last night, they were lacking considerably in the talent to match them. I mean, Belgium just played whatever way they wanted to. And when the US got the goal from a deflected free kick, Belgium just said, hey, we'll go down and we score another one. So the US had a very, very tough time getting into the game last night.
It was brutal from start to finish. I don't know a lot about the style, but were they outclassed on their own doing, or was that more Belgium, or was that more the United States?
Yeah, well, it was Belgium. You know, you guys know in sport, you only play as well as the opponent lets you. And Belgium certainly didn't let the US play well last night. The US, and to top it all off, the US picked a bad night to be nervous and to be, they weren't doing the things that they did earlier. Now, I don't know how much, there was so much tension around this camp and all this stuff about the red card and everything else, and I'm not sure how much it played on people's minds, but the US didn't look a patch of themselves last night.
What was the strategic disadvantage? What from a coaching perspective would you say could have been changed, could have been different? What would you sort of Monday morning quarterback what the United States team did from a strategic perspective last night?
Last night, if I was coaching the US team and the way things were going, I would have said, okay, forget about midfield. As a defender, when you get the ball, bang it in long into the box and let Balogun do something inside. Maybe force a penalty kick, maybe get himself a good shot. They never did that. They tried to walk it in, and Belgium were waiting for them every time they turned. I mean, the most disappointing player on the field last night was Pulisic. I think he gave, even in the amount of time he played, he gave 11 balls up, which you can't afford to do, but I can understand why it happened, because Belgium were marking them so closely. So I would have played the long ball. I mean, I come from a country where we played the long ball, and it got us to several World Cups, because when you get defenders running in the wrong direction, defenders are brilliant when they're facing the ball and the ball is coming to them, and all they have to do is put a boot on and get it out into midfield, and one of the midfielders get it. But if you can get the ball in behind them and you get players running in behind them, there were a couple of times last night that the US did that, and they looked pretty good. It looked like they were going to get a ball across into the box. It didn't happen. There was one in particular where the guy just put his foot up. If he had got a touch on it, the US would have been in business. So that's what I would have done different, but that's only my opinion.
One thing that we're all trying to figure out, not a lot of us, frankly, that listen to our show and honestly us that participate in our show, like I watched because I want America to do well. I want to see us make progress. I want to see us be better than we were 4 years ago, 8 years ago, 12 years ago, what have you. And I think after last night, it was so disappointing because I felt like this year could be different. It could be a breakthrough. They could make a run. And yet here we are. Same spot, 17th ranked team in the world. We make it to round of 16. We go out in remarkably unspectacular fashion. So what I'm having a hard time with is, are we actually better? Is the U.S. improved on the world stage from a soccer standpoint?
Individually, some of the players have improved. But, a collective, no, they haven't. They're basically about the same thing. And, they have a few very talented players who on their night can play with anybody, but their night is not often enough. I mean, they have to change something within the U.S. Soccer Federation.
We're visiting with Tommy Smyth, ESPN soccer analyst on the Higginbotham hotline. So U.S. now gone. Is this France's tournament to lose?
I would think so, although Spain have gone like 10 hours without giving up a goal. So, France had problems against Paraguay, and when you consider that the U.S. beat Paraguay 4-1, and, France had to take a penalty kick in the 70th minute to beat Paraguay. This, I'm told, is going to be the semi-final pairing. They can't meet in the final, so one of them is going to be eliminated, either France or Spain, before the final. I have a feeling that, Spain will give them a really, really tough test. I mean, I fancy, I'm jumping ahead of myself here, guys. I fancy Spain to beat Belgium. So it'll be Spain against France. And, I picked France at the beginning, and I'm not gonna leave the sinking ship just yet. It's not sinking as far as I'm concerned.
So what about Argentina? They'll go tonight. They're the second favorite right now. Obviously, we know about Messi, we know about others, but how good is that group relative to what they were 4 years ago?
Well, with the exception of them being just 4 years older and having played 4 years more of football, they're basically still the same group. They're still the same kind of a group. They are very, very well organized at the back. Their defense is really good. And, of course, when you need a goal, you pick up the phone and you dial Messi and say, hey, we need a goal. And that's the rest of the story. I fancy them to beat Egypt tonight. I mean, Egypt have a pretty good team. They've competed well in the Cup of Nations in Africa. And they have Mo Salah, a man who did an awful lot of great things for Liverpool in England, playing with Liverpool. He's a great goal scorer. Watch for him on the right. He'll be cutting in all the time, and they'll need to keep an eye on him. But at the end of the day, I fancy Argentina to beat Egypt.
Tommy, you mentioned the red card with the United States and that being overturned. Just what were your overall thoughts on the handling of that entire situation? Because a lot of us watching it, we don't know what to make of it. It seems just wild. Maybe this is a little more normal. What did you make of that entire deal?
No, it's not normal. It's not normal. I mean, okay, people said, look at, he should have the red card overturned because Ronaldo had his red card overturned. But there was a complete difference. I mean, people were comparing the two, and I don't know why. Ronaldo got suspended for 3 games, not 1 game. He got suspended for 3 games, and it was in World Cup qualifying. So he served 1 game, and they said, okay, you're on probation now for the next 2 years with the other 2 suspensions. If you get a red card, you're going to have to serve them too. Balogun got a red card, which, FIFA themselves said there's no way that you can appeal a red card. And we all know what happened. It became a real, I don't know, the word I wanted to use, I can't use it on radio, but it became a real mess. And it ruined everything. Because, I mean, this World Cup, guys, was the best. I've been watching this sport for, 100 years, maybe. This was the best World Cup I had ever seen. It was unbelievable. The crowds, the amount of people who have been at this World Cup. And like the chatter beforehand was, the tickets are so expensive. The stadiums will be half full. Well, I don't know where the people got the money, but they got the money or something happened with the tickets anyhow because the stadiums were all full. And the feeling of the amount of people that came to this country to follow the World Cup and the reception they got, it was unbelievable. I mean, Boston, they fell in love with the Scots, and then they went down to Miami and they had to sweat it out down there. I'm not sure they fell in love quickly with them down there. But there were so many great stories of people coming to this country and people seeing what this country has to offer and how kind and gentle the people in this country can be. So it can, hopefully we'll forget about it very quickly.
Last one for me. That game in Mexico City between Mexico and England was the greatest. I haven't watched a ton of soccer. You've been watching for 100 years. That was the greatest scene I've ever seen. I mean, if we could just get that on a regular basis, I think soccer would become very popular in this country. But that was unique, was it not?
Yes. It wouldn't be unique for Mexico. I mean, Mexico had played 89 games in the Azteca Stadium, and they only had lost 2. So, I mean, they had a pretty good home field advantage, and that's the way their fans react all the time. And, of course, you're playing 1.5 miles above sea level. But it was a tremendous atmosphere, really was. And, you know, I think the U.S. soccer team this time proved that you can get that kind of an atmosphere in the U.S. because you've seen even last night. I mean, when the U.S. got the goal and the game was a draw, 1-1, I mean, the crowd were going crazy. I mean, I was sitting in my house here, I could feel it almost shaking, even though they were in Seattle. They were making so much noise and having such a great time. So it is capable of, they are capable of doing it, but it's a question of will they?
I am a part-time Croatia fan as well as being a full-time United States fan. Am I on board? Were you on board with me believing that they got screwed against Portugal?
Yeah.
There we go. That's
I mean,
all we need.
You know, was it a drop of sweat? Was it his hair? I mean, this thing about, I mean, we've come so far. We have something in the ball now that tells us if the ball was played. You know, I think we've gone too far. I think we've got to go back just a little step. I'm always in favor of progress, but you know, progress sometimes has a terrible feel to it. And I'll tell you one thing: Croatia felt it very badly. They were a great team in this World Cup.
Well, you're a great guest. We appreciate the time today. Thank you so much for hopping on. It's a pleasure to have you. Great to hear from you, and enjoy the rest of this World Cup.
Thank you very much, guys, and enjoy and be safe, okay?
Yes, sir. There we go. Tommy Smyth, at Tommy Smyth ESPN. That's SMYTH. You can follow him on Twitter. Does an excellent job covering soccer. Appreciate him taking some time to join us today. And the fact that he agrees that Croatia got jobbed in this tournament.
That make him the best guest ever?
One of the, yeah,
okay.
No doubt. I'll quickly take you to a bad box score of the day. How about that? We got about a minute until we're going to get out, but I will share that with you. Back to the AF1.
Ooh.
Arena Football 1. The Kentucky Barrels. There you go,
yeah.
Damien. Kentucky Barrels. They took on the Minnesota
Monsters. Better than Monsters, yeah.
And they went down 60-8 over the weekend. The Monsters prevailed. The main takeaway you need from this game is that the Barrels, you would think Kentucky with all the...
Is it a barrel?
Oh, like from Modern Family?
It's barrel.
Based on the logo, I think it's a barrel. It's actually like a whiskey barrel that has the football, the strings on it from the football.
Okay.
Let's go.
That's actually a good logo.
Yeah. Creative.
Look, right here.
Are we getting gear?
We need some gear.
We're Nashville Cats.
Oh, yeah, we need gear on. We need that gear.
It's a good logo.
We?
Your takeaway here needs to be that the passing for the Kentucky Barrels was not there. Eric Phoenix was not hot. 17 of 44, 85 yards passing.
Not what you're looking for.
Trash.
No touchdowns, 3 picks.
Not great.
That's what happens when you run into the Monsters.
Monsters or Monstars?
They're the Monsters.
Both.
They got put over the barrel.
In this game.
Got him.
So,
let's go.
Claude Davis did have 2 carries for 22 yards and a touchdown.
Toting that thing.
I also love that Gunnar Hurlbert, an offensive lineman, had 4 carries for 19 yards for the Minnesota Monsters in this game. They're like, it's such a blowout. Just start giving the O-line carries. We're back tomorrow. 3-Man Front is next.
This is McElroy and Cubelic in the morning.